Hello peeps, Dee here. Welcome to my studio, welcome to my channel, and welcome to this little tutorial. Now, this tutorial is not how to make all these canes. This tutorial is how to use them. All right, first of all, I want to tell you, you don't have to make very complicated canes for this. Let's look at what we have. Jelly roll, well, the kitty's a little more. Another jelly roll. Skinner blend, bullseye, lopsided discs. There's a flower. But, you know, honestly, the canes can be quite simple. You also don't have to have this many because you can take one and you can use it and reduce it to fill in spaces, stuff like that. Okay, that's what we're going to do. This is a class on Millefiori, making a Millefiori pin in a way that's very traditional for the way Millefiori canes were used in glass. Yeah, so this is actually the one we're going to make. So I think we should get started. Okay, peeps, so let's make our clay template. Yeah, I have two right here. All right, the first thing I'm going to do, this is a piece of deli paper. Actually, it's called Dispense a Wax. And I think I can't remember where I got it. Anyway, basically, I think that you put this between like patties, hamburger patties. Anyway, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw a leaf shape. Now, if you need help with drawing a leaf shape, you can always take something like a leaf shape cutter. Let's just use this bigger one now. Go around, and then, you know, it kind of helps you as a guide. There's a very basic kind of shape. Right? Okay, so I'm going to turn this over and draw on this side. This is the side that's going to be transferred onto the clay. So you're just going to draw on the paper whatever shape you want your little leaf to be. Now, do I want it larger or small? You know what? I'm just going to go around the outside here. Like so. And then I'll go around and this is basically my template. Okay. Just like so. So all of this area is going to be clay. Now you can see how thin this is down here. Well, it can be. It can be. Okay. All right, so let's transfer it. I have a ceramic tile. I have rolled my clay through setting number 6 on my pasta machine. I use an Atlas that starts with 0. Thing about this is you don't want to use very, very dark clay because I'm going to be transferring the graphite from this paper right onto the clay. Now, when you put the clay down on the tile, just make sure you don't have any air bubbles between the clay and the tile. Yeah, it doesn't help. Okay. And I'm just burnishing to get the pencil off the paper onto the clay, and hopefully Okay, so it's very faint. This one is faint. You know, I think this lead is very hard. So if you have lead that is just a bit softer, maybe you want to use that. Okay, I can still see it, however, so I'm going to say this is good. Let me move all my thingies over. Now, I've got a needle. This is an actual acupuncture needle that has been embedded in a wad of scrap clay to make a little handle. And I'm just going to follow those lines like so. Now, if this clay were very much thicker, then I would have to use an X-Acto knife or a craft knife. As it is now, it's thin enough, but you can see, and I'll pull it up. There we go, pulling that off. This seems a little bit thicker. No, this was setting 5, sorry. And here comes Lou. Okay, so it does pull just a little bit of the clay up. Now, I think for the perimeter, I will use a craft knife, because I think there will probably be less drag as I'm cutting. And then, of course, you remove the excess clay. All right, so I will continue cutting in just the very same fashion, and then I'll be back. Okay, so here is my leaf clay template, the original sketch, not very complicated. Now, here is one I made here, actually 2 that I made. So you can see that if you make a thinner leaf like this, see how much more slender it is than this one? Then in this particular case, I just took and I graduated the cane slices and didn't do a lot of filling in between them. When you have a larger area, you probably end up having to fill in more small spaces. You know, I like them both. Okay, I am going to put this in the oven now, and after it's done, I'll be back. All right, peeps, you know, the one I just cut is in the oven, but hey, I have these. I can continue. All right, so let's take a look at this guy. Looking pretty good. Doesn't have a lot of little bits of clay stuck to the cut edges. So let's just use this. Now, this clay, this black clay, has been rolled through setting number 5 on my pasta machine. That's how thick it is. See, so it's quite thin. And that is actually the thickness that I am going to be trying to cut all these little slices. These guys, see this pile of canes? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so let's get started. Now, I always start in the middle, like so. Like that. And I'm trying not to push it out. You know, the templates are very thin, so you can really push them pretty easily. In other words, push that wall out as you're cutting. Don't really want to do that. Let's take this blade and just cut off the end like so. And now cut the perimeter. Okay. Da, 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 da. We are almost there. Doink. Kadoink, kadoink, kadee doink. Now this guy is going to have to be cured. And you know, I have a choice here. Now, if there are any little bits, like these little guys, just take a soft brush, brush them off and brush them away. You don't want them. Now, of course, you can sand afterward, but if you look, see how thin this is? Like, it's very thin there, it's very thin there. So you have to be really careful when you sand, because even though the clay is very strong, it is possible to break it. Yeah, more than possible. All right, so now I have a choice. I am going to paint it gold, like that. I can do it now while the clay is uncured, or I can cure it first and then do it. Now, the advantage, actually, what would be the advantage to doing it one over the other? No, okay, so let's talk about risk, all right? So if I do it now, I have a risk of taking that paint on my fingers, tamping down on an area, let's say that very thin area, and actually lifting the clay up with me. There's always that chance, okay? Now, that's not going to happen if it's cured. Yeah, it won't. But if I cure this and do it after, I cannot take this off the tile. I have to paint it while it's on the tile. Otherwise, it's really awkward. You end up holding it and trying to get it, and then trying to get this part and trying to get that part, and the paint is not only here, but it's like all over your hands. Okay, so those are the problems. One is a risk and the other is problem with doing it one way or the other. Now, I think I'm just going to go ahead and cure it and then paint it after. Okay, so this is going in the oven. All right, guys. So, everything's in the oven. I've got so much in the oven. You know, it's not big stuff. It's not heavy stuff, but it's all in the oven. So here is my little tiny cane box. You guys have seen this before, maybe? Yeah. So I just pulled some tiny canes out. And, you know, it looks like there are a lot of canes, but there's a lot of duplication in this box. Like, these are duplicates. This is another duplication, blah, blah, blah. Now, some of you might not have tons of canes like this. Well, you know what? I haven't tried it, but I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't take one single cane that you really like. Let's say this guy, because I really like it a lot. And use it only without making it all different. Like, this is just an explosion of different canes. There's nothing that says you can't just use one, okay? So perhaps I will have time to make just one using this guy just to show you, because you would simply take one cane and then reduce it as you need to and blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Okay, so don't be intimidated and think, oh, I can't do it unless I have this many canes. That's absolutely not true. Okay, let's take a look at what I have pulled out. This is a little jelly roll. This is just, and you'll find that I have a lot of canes like this. It is a Skinner Blend Bullseye that looks like that. Reduce it down. I have flowers. This is a flower I made for my caning book, as is this. I still have them. And they reduced beautifully. I just took a hunk that I had lying around and I just and reduced it down. Okay, I have another flower. Oh, this is also a flower. See, this is a little tiny columbine. that I made when the Hayman fire was going on. And that was, whoa, that was a long time ago. So this is a very old cane too. I have a lot of just simple bullseye. This is just a bullseye, lime green, black wrap, yellow, black wrap, and then peach, black wrap. This is a little Starry Night jelly roll. Here it is on the other side, so you can see. I am even putting a little face in. This is a little tiny Asian face. See him? So I'm using him too. This was just a cane end that I squished down, just black and white. And so you get the picture. Now, there will be times when you just have a space to fill, and that's where a tiny space, something like this might come in. Now, these are bullseye canes. Lavender, black wrap. This is a Skinner Blend bullseye, black wrap. But you know what? You don't have to make an actual cane. You can just use something like this. This, at this end, it's nothing but violet. This was a cane. See, there's a little bit of blue in there. Anyway, so you can just grab little bits. Let's say I wanted this color. I just simply grab a little bit and roll a very, very thin snake. Because at that scale, nobody knows what you're doing. Okay, oh, here's another flower. That's a little teeny flower. And more bullseyes, okay? So that's basically what I'm going to be using. This was actually, you know, the cha-cha bracelet. Well, this is a cha-cha bracelet piece reduced really, really small, tiny. I can make a miniature cha-cha bracelet. All right, so that's what I got going here. We're just waiting for stuff to cure. Okay, peeps, look, it's cured. And I tried to organize these just a little bit. Yeah. All right, so this is stuck. See, stuck. You know what? Because it's stuck and it's cured, I'm going to take this opportunity to give it a light sanding. Abernet P180, I'm going to sand very lightly so I don't lift this off the tile. Yeah, well, that's the goal. Just lightly, lightly, lightly. Okay, we're almost done. I don't have to do a lot. I don't have to do a lot of sanding, just a tad. Okay, I think that's good enough. Take a little brush. Try to brush off what you sanded. No doubt you've sanded a few little bits that were hanging on the side there, like those bits. Do my best. There we go. All right, still stuck. Taking my paint, and I'm going to paint the surface. And, you know, usually, I gotta say, it usually takes about 3 coats for me to get good coverage. Okay, almost through with coat 1. Almost. Okay, let's let this dry, then I'll hit it again, then I'll let it dry, and I'll hit it again. Oops. Okay, You can see, it's not like the best coverage, and through here you can still see a lot of the black. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, my peeps, it's the next day. Okay, so what we've got here is a nice cured leaf. Still stuck to the tile, not a problem. Take your blade, slide underneath, and free it. Like so. Okay. All right, I got a lot of paint on my tile, which is not a problem in the least, because all I have to do is take a blade and scrape it off like that. Yeah, acrylic paint has a lot of stickum. See, I have to do it that way. Really, just scraping it off the top. Oops. Oh no. Oh no, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Here you are. Phew. Okay. Now, I have this sheet of black clay that I have rolled through setting number 6 because, to tell you the truth, this sheet does not have to be very thick. So I'm going to roll this through the pasta machine again, but I'm going to reset my machine, backing it down to 5. I am finding that if you take a very, very thin sheet of clay and you push it onto a sponge and you roll it through, lots of times that clay gets stuck in the sponge. So let's just do it. Oh, my nose is itchy. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, there you go. There you go, and here we are. So I would really recommend doing that. Now, let's just lightly stroke and try not to have any air pockets between the clay and the tile. We're going to try anyway. Okie dokie. Now, could also take a little needle and just put some holes in the sheet. They'll never be seen. And you know, if there's any air, we hope it finds one of these holes and exits that way. All right. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to take some liquid clay, apply it to the back, like this. Could use my fingers too, I suppose. Da, 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 da. All right. Let's just press it to this very thin sheet. Now, you can make the sheet thicker if you need to. I just don't feel I have to. I can make a nice lightweight pin. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is cut slices off of our many little pieces. Try to cut them the same thickness. Not always possible. I have one square cane. I decided to pull out my cat. So let me try. How's this? And because it's the odd shape, right? It's the odd shape. But it's one that I really like a lot. I'm just going to put it right there and work everything around it. Okay, so let's select another cane. Now, I've been making, you know, all these canes have been rather small. Maybe the maximum sizes are like this, right? That's not to say I can't use something this large. I'm just not sure I want to do that. A cane this large and this bright is going to stick up. Oh, let's use it. Why not? Why not? It's one of my favorites, to tell you the truth. I really like this cane a lot. So let's just put you right there. And that's a really good thickness. I can feel it's about the same thickness as my gold leaf. All right, so let's pick another slice. Sometimes it's kind of hard. It gets difficult to fit them into spaces, so you might want to resort to something like this. Pick it up, then press it in, right? I don't necessarily want to cut with this because it's rather dull. Here's a little black and white. And I have to admit, I don't think a lot about the slices I'm going to use. I just start cutting. Look, see, I can do it that way too. That is just a tiny bit large. So let's just slide it right in here, like so. Apparently I got a little piece of schmutz. And there, gone. All right, so I just keep working like this until I've filled the whole space. I don't anticipate cutting another kitty, but that's not to say it couldn't happen, because I like it. I like it. Okay, so that's a good beginning. I will check in a little bit later to show you how far I've gotten, what I've done. Okay, and I do try to leave a bit of black exposed because I really like that. If you put the pieces too close together or jam them up, then you don't see the black at all. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so this is what I have so far. You can see I have to do a lot of filling in these areas with smaller canes. So I'll try these, right? And you know what? If they're too large, I just reduce them down a bit further. Now, let's talk a bit about using these teeny tiny guys. Yeah, you're going to handle them slightly differently. Now, what I'm going to do is cut, and see, that's thicker than I have been cutting. It is. I keep it on the blade, then find the space it's going to go, position it, and then push it down. Like so. Because handling something kind of that small gets a little bit difficult. Okay, so that's the way I do that. All right, let's see if I can take a piece from here and find a home for it. Yeah, it'll fit right there. Just like that. This is one of my favorite little canes. I love it. Now this end is smaller, slightly smaller, not a lot, but slightly smaller. Let's pick it up. See if I can just plop it into a space like that. And you do have to be a little careful because sometimes you can cut the other slices with your blade. Yeah, I've done that. I have done that. All right, so I will continue filling in the spaces. Should I put another kitty cat? Yeah, why not? I really like this cane. He makes me happy. Oops. I have a black cat, ditto. And this kind of reminds me of Ditto. Will you fit in there? Yep. Okay. So I'll be back when I'm done. Oh, look at this little guy, tiny. All right, peeps, there we go. Now it's time to cut the clay around the perimeter. Of course, you're going to leave the leaf on the tile. Come on, what am I up against? Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, you know, I think I'm going to clean up this edge. See how the black is sticking out a little farther? Just by taking this needle and running it along this side like that. Come on, I seem to have gotten stuck on something. I will be sanding this anyway. Okay, and now this goes in the oven. Into the oven we go. All right, I'll be back. All right, peeps, I'm going to turn this into a pin. So, of course, it's cured. Here's the back, here's the front. And what I'm going to do is start by gluing the Tie-Tack finding on. I use Tie-Tack findings almost exclusively now for pin backs. Now, do I want this to go up? Do I want it to go down? Do I want it to go this way? Who knows? I'll put it right here. This pin is very, very light. Even with the backing that I'm going to put on next, it's still going to be quite light. So I think it's going to be pretty easy to position it the way you want it. Okay, good deal. Just pushing it down so that I'm gluing the finding to the clay, not only to the glue. Okay, here's my black clay. All right. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to roll black clay that will be on the back. I'm going to cover the whole thing, of course. Now, this is quite thin, so if I use this clay, this is how thick it's going to be. That's good. So I've rolled this through setting number 5 on my atlas that starts at 0. Okay, let's roll it through the pasta machine again. Now, last time when I rolled through 6, I had to back the setting down to 5. I've not had any problems with 5, so I am still set on 5. I'm going to roll them through my pasta machine together, like so. It's quite easy to get off, as you can see. All right, let's take liquid clay and brush it all over the back. Now, if you're new to clay, the reason why I'm doing this is because this liquid clay is actually going to improve the bond between the cured piece and the raw clay. Now, can you do this without putting the liquid on? Yeah, probably. It's just that you have a better chance of these two pieces not separating if you put that liquid on. That's all. So if you're just starting with clay, I would highly recommend you get a bottle of liquid clay as well. All right, so let's just cut off some of the excess. I seem to have a very big piece, and I don't need a very big piece, do I? Nope, I don't. And all this clay just gets in the way, so just want to cut that off. Okay. Now I'm going to take my scalpel. Actually, this is a cheap craft knife. You would not want a surgeon to use this. Nope, nope, nope. I do have scalpels somewhere. This is definitely not one of them. Okay, so let me just continue cutting around. Like so. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. All right. I'd say that was easy enough. Like so. Okay, so hang on for just a moment. I have to get the thing. All right, so here is a block of foam rubber, a gift from a very special friend of mine. Says that she cures all her stuff on it. Now I'm going to put this piece of paper down because over time I'm gonna have to get new foam rubber. Look, see, it starts degrading. So I just take a piece of paper down and just push it right down on the foam rubber like so. So, you know, theoretically it's going to support the piece, and if you get this kind of action underneath the paper, it shouldn't really affect it much. Now, I will show you something though, because I cured this one this way, and it kind of it kind of warped. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't actually push the Titech all the way down into the foam. Anyway, you know, I was going to correct it, and I'm going to tell you something. You can correct this kind of thing. Correcting this is just a matter of putting it back in the oven, and then while it's warm, going face down and pushing it flat. That's how you correct it. It's not hard. But I kind of like it warped like this. I do. I kind of like the movement of it. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to correct it at all. I'm going to put this in the oven, however, and then I will be back. All right, so this is hot. I decided that I would make an example of a piece that features one cane instead of this. Because you guys, I don't know if many of you are going to have as many of these little tiny canes as I do. I'm thinking not. So I decided that I would make one. Now, I happen to pick a favorite cane of mine. This is a favorite cane. I love it. Lopsided circles with the Skinner blends, and I love it. But I used it, and I made this, and it's like Merry Christmas. Yeah. So, you know, and the cane in isolation, when I look at that cane, I do not think of Christmas. But somehow, when I stuck them all together here, it made me think of Christmas. Not a bad thing. It's just not what I exactly wanted. Now, the one thing about using only one cane is that it can get kind of boring. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I find this kind of boring. Maybe it's because I keep looking at this and they're like the opposite, right? They're just opposites. So, in order to make them more interesting, I did add these little cured dots. And I've done this in other classes with you guys. You're going to take clay and you just use cutters and you make these shapes. Like there's a little ring. Here's a donut. And so Anyway, so that's an option. Now, I also inserted tiny, tiny little crystals. So I just wanted to make it a little more interesting than it was with only the cane. And I think it is. I think it is more interesting. I'll wear it for Christmas. Okay, I'll be back. All right, peeps. So here we are. We're just trying to finish up the pin. Now, this is the one I had in the oven. It's out. You can see that the side edge is black. Now, the samples I have here have edges that are gold. They've been painted. Now, I'm going to leave this black, but I am going to sand it. Now, in order to make this, I want you to notice something. See that black line down there? Well, that's the actual backing. So what I do when I want a gold edge is I paint it before I back it, okay? And the reason why I do that is because I like this nice, neat line. If I take this and I sand it and I try to paint it, chances are I'm going to get paint on the back, or I'm going to get, you know, collection spots where there's too much paint. Anyway, so I generally do not do it at this point, okay? Just because it gets sloppy on the back. I do it before. This is when I put the gold on. See, it's got no back on it. So let's just quickly do a little bit of this. Just gonna take a little sanding stick and sand it down just a bit. And I'll show you what happens if you don't do a good job sanding. This, I did a terrible job sanding. So you can actually see the layers. See that? See that right there? See this corner? Looks terrible. Look at this one. This one looks much better because I did a much better job sanding. Okay. So I won't do the whole thing, but I will show you. I bought these sanding sticks in Germany, and so I don't even know if they sell them here. The point, though, is that they were not cheap, and I think you can accomplish the same thing by just taking a half round, wrapping it in sandpaper, or even just taking something like this and wrap it in sandpaper. You don't need this stick. Okay, we're almost there. That looks good. Now, I would do the same thing, of course, all the way around. In here, here, all the way around. Now, this, as a general shape, is going to be more difficult. I'll probably have to use a brush to get the paint right down in there because, obviously, my fat fingers won't do it. Here's my paint. That's Louie. Hi, Lou. Hi, Lou. Mommy's boy. He is so cute. Started cooking for him because he was watching Farmer's Dog commercials, and I swear he knew. You knew, right, Lou? He knew there's a better life out there. So I'm cooking for him. Because why not? Okay, so I might have to do another coat. Let's let this dry. The back looks Actually, it looks surprisingly good, but it'd be just as easy to do that. So anyway. Now, once this is completely sanded and painted, then of course I proceed. And I take my finding, I glue it on, I do the backing, pop it in the oven, and then we're done. This guy is just going to get sanded all the way around. So that the edge looks nice. You guys can see that it's all grayed out now. Not a problem. I'm gonna grab my Nivea, apply some Nivea to the sanded area, and that'll restore the black. Can see I've got to do more sanding here because you can clearly see the two layers. Better. Okay, so that's much better already. Okay, I will finish this and I'll be back. Okay, here we go. Now you can see I've got all the gold edging on. It was several coats, and I had to use a brush to get in that space. But now I'm ready to back it. So you've already seen how that's done. Take glue, then put the sheet on. Don't forget the liquid clay. Cut around, cure it. Okay. So here's this one. It is completely sanded now around the perimeter. Let us just put a little bit of Nivea on, and you can see what happens to the gray. You see? It restores the black. Now, right now the black is a little bit shiny, but it doesn't stay that way. It ends up looking very matte, like a very matte black. Okay. So let me finish this one, then I'll be back. Well, peeps, here we are at the end of class. Made a pin, used our canes. Yeah, we did. And as a reminder, of course, you don't have to have as many canes as I do, certainly. You can use one cane. Make something like this. I like projects like this because it's a way of using some of the things that I already have that tend to sit around here for years. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you in advance. If you liked it, please like it. Please subscribe. It helps me a lot. And as I said, I appreciate that quite a bit. So I think it's time for me to push off. So do I want to tell you anything else? No, I think not. I think I covered everything. So I'm Donna Kato, signing off. Bye.